Hi everybody, Scott Nell here with the Scott Nell team. I'm here with my friend Holly Gustlin. She's with Priority Financial Network. It's a great company. And she is a residential mortgage banker. Today's topic is, how do I improve my credit score, or otherwise known as my FICO score? So you're an expert in that area. Tell us about that.
It's optimal in lending to have a credit score, a mortgage credit score, 700 or higher. 740 is actually a pretty important break point also, where you typically get the best
I thought it was
rates.
720. Is it 740 now? Or?
Well, lenders have buckets in 20-point buckets.
Right.
And depending upon the program, if you're trying to get cash out or whatever the program is, a higher credit score, 740, 760, can make a minor difference. Anything below 700 is not going to be good unless it's an FHA loan. FHA doesn't really care that much, but conventional lenders really do. So it's important to know that whenever you get your score online from Credit Karma or any of these services, it's a consumer score. It is not a mortgage score.
Okay, so define that, and then he's going to put it right up here as you define it.
Okay, so there are three different types of scores: consumer, mortgage, and auto.
Okay.
And they all use different criteria for their model, for their computer system that gives you a score.
Okay.
So if you're getting a consumer score and you pay your credit cards on time all the time and you have low balances and stuff, you have a really high credit score. Mortgages are much more conservative. I've literally never seen a person have a higher mortgage score than their consumer score, ever.
Okay.
The consumer score is always higher. So when somebody comes to me and says, oh, I've got a 698 FICO, oh, God, no, you don't. You really have like a 670 or something. So it's important to know, in my experience, if you go to myfico.com, myfico.com,
right.
That's the Experian website, they now offer all three scores. So it's good to know that. So you can get an actual mortgage score without having to have your credit run. Another important thing to know is that it no longer hurts your credit. Never really did much, but it absolutely does not hurt your credit now to have inquiries. Back in the day, years and years and years ago, if you were to,
pull it out so we can see that face. Yes.
If you were to go out and apply for a bunch of installment loans like furniture and credit cards, lenders would see you as possibly getting in over your head or being desperate, so they would lower your credit score as a protective measure. And they may still do that, but nobody really does that anymore. People are always afraid, if a mortgage lender runs my credit, it's going to lower my score. No, it will not. Okay, it just straight won't.
Okay.
And you also need to know that an auto score is always higher than both, almost always higher than both.
Okay, so explain to us an auto score.
An auto score is basically primarily your auto behavior. So if you've had late car payments, your score's not going to be good by anybody's criteria. But if you've always paid your car on time and you've often
so you're saying auto as in auto,
yes,
not
as
automatic.
No, as in automobile.
See, that's why it's good we're talking about
yes,
this.
That's good. So I define it better. So yes, your automobile score will always be higher. Also.
Great. Isn't there a variable too, depending on with the credit card, on what your typical balance is? Like if you're constantly maxing out, that affects your credit score in a negative way too, right?
Yeah, in a huge way. So they've changed the buckets now. So the buckets are now 10%, which is the amount you owe divided by the amount you are allowed to borrow, your credit limit.
Right.
So if you owe 1,000 and your limit is 10,000, you get an A+. If you are below 1,000. The next bucket, and the most important one, is 30%. If you're above 30%, it's not so bueno. If you're 30% or below, it's like an A minus. And then 50% is the next bucket.
Right.
If you're at 50%, it's like a B.
Okay.
If you're over 70%, it's like a D minus. It's not good at all. It's really
okay. So what about someone like me? I have a credit card that it's business, so we max it out practically every month. But it's paid off every month. So what's the best way to work with that? Get another card?
Well,
divide it up into two?
They now have, that's not a bad idea, but they now have trended credit reports. Before, it was just a snapshot in time, whatever you owed at that moment, and it was not very accurate for people. Well, a lot of people who are like you, very responsible. They pay it off. Or they have an American Express card where they have to pay it off every month. It's not a revolving account. Now the lender can see, oh yeah, he pays it off every month. I don't know how, they won't ever tell us how the models are because that's their state secrets that they make their money on. So we don't know their formula. We have to guess their formula from what we can see in the results. In most cases, it's better to pay that card down and let them run your credit before you do it up. And many times I've told people, use your debit card then while we're in process, just so that we don't
So it's just for that month before they check it?
Correct.
So it's not like they're looking 3 months back and go, okay, he maxed it, paid it, maxed it, paid it. It's just, okay, so that's easy enough
Yeah.
then.
And while you're in the loan process, you want to be very careful too, because lenders always run a mini report. It's not a real hard inquiry, it's just like a mini check. And they're looking for two things: higher debt and inquiries. So if you are buying a house and then you go to Home Depot and you want to get a card there, and then you go over and you want to buy a refrigerator at Best Buy, those inquiries are going to show, and you're going to have to explain them, and you're going to have to tell them if you took on new debt. And if you did, you now own a brand new refrigerator. That's neat, but it has to be counted in your debt to income ratio.
Right.
So you want to plan with your lender in advance. If I buy this, will that hurt me? And if it will, then you want to wait till after you close the loan.
So my question that I had for you was, is it better or is it good, do you think, to have a credit repair company, or should someone do it themselves? I mean, how do you decide which way is the best way to go?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. If you have no collections, no judgments, no late payments, you just have high debt, you don't need a person to tell you to lower your debt.
Right, you can tell them that.
Right, I tell you, lower your debt. And the company that we use to run our credit reports has a tool called the What If Simulator, and I just go in and say.
Can you say that slower? Because
the What If Simulator.
Yes.
It's copyrighted. It's the What If Simulator, and I can go in and change the balance on any credit card, and it will instantly update to what the credit score will be. So you don't need a credit repair person for that. If you have collections that are not paid, then I counsel people on how to approach the collection agency so that they will agree to delete it when you pay it, not just show it as paid in full. And the reason this is important is because there is a very stupid part of the credit scoring model that has not gotten up to date with real life, in my opinion, and that is that the system only shows the latest activity in that particular field. That field is derogatory, credit. So if you have a collection that's, say, 4 years old, it's not impacting you that much. But if you pay it now, boom, the field updates to now. And it doesn't distinguish between good and bad. Is that stupid or what? So if they don't delete it, it's actually going to hurt you to pay them. You should not pay them if they're not going to agree to delete it.
It seems to me, unless someone is working really tightly with someone like you who knows it really well, because most loan brokers I don't think, know it as well as you do. Most agents don't know it as well as you do. It seems to me it would be best to find a reputable company so that you don't make that one little mistake that's going to cost you 2 or 3 months or 10 or 20 points, and over the life of the loan, that's a ton of money.
It's a lot of money. And to your point about credit repair people, I've been through a lot of credit repair people. They come and go in the industry. The one I'm working with now is Conquer Credit, and they
slowly
Conquer Credit.
Conquer.
Angela Setters, and she's very honorable, been in the business I think 25 years or so. She can correct me, but it's been a long time.
Right.
And they have relationships and they have ways of doing things that normal people just can't always get done. So if you've already paid the collection and you can't get them to delete it for you, and that's what's hurting your credit score, that's when you need to hire someone like Angela.
Because they know who to talk to. They've talked to most of these companies.
Yes.
They know. Basically, I think it's like in my business, it's about the dance. And someone has to come in and they have to be able to do the dance sometimes with that person to get that thing done.
I had a client who Wells Fargo was not being honorable, big surprise, but they were not being honorable. And they'd already written off these debts, but then they took it back from the collection agency and were collecting from him. And they were showing full balance as due. So I asked Angela, this isn't even honorable. They've already taken the tax deduction for writing this off. What's going on? And she looked in the system and she realized the statute of limitations was about to expire. So they were going to have to take it off the credit in 2 months. And she said, yeah, just sit tight for 2 months. You'll be fine.
Perfect.
I'm sorry, but a lot of people I know would have said, sure, pay me $1,500. I'll have it off in 2 months.
Right.
Yeah, sure you will.
Right. Great information. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Cool.
Hey everyone, if you'd like more information about myself or my amazing team, check out scottnellteam.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.